When our founding fathers signed the Declaration of Independence on July 4th, 1776, the American Revolutionary War was far from over. One could argue that before it gets better, it will get worse. When Moses and his tribe left Egypt and crossed to the Red Sea, their journey to the Promised Land was far from over. One could argue that before it would get better, it will get worse. When we celebrated our independence from the Archdiocese, newly excommunicated, with multiple TV cameras and standing room only in this church on Christmas midnight mass in 2005, our journey to freedom was far from over. As you all know, before it would get better, it did get worse. When you exchange your wedding vows with your spouse, when you promise to love and cherish them until death do you part, your marriage happily ever after was far from over. Today you know that before it would get better, it will get worse. You see, before Benjamin Franklin signed the Treaty of Paris in 1883, for many years after the Declaration of Independence was signed, many people who lived in the original 14 colonies were asking themselves whether following these crazy and utopia-like ideals of freedom and justice for all, whether holding strong to their faith that all men are born free and equal, was worth all the pain, persecution, and horrors of war. The price they paid for their faithfulness to these ideals was truly very high. When the promised nation was wandering in the desert for 40 years, the Bible tells us that many of them were asking themselves, is it really worth it? Would we be better off going back to Egypt and living as loyal subjects of the Pharaoh? As many of you know, our journey of over 15 years now has provided multiple opportunities for our parishioners and guests alike to ask themselves, is it really worth it? Are our ideals of treating everyone with justice and respect, of creating a truly inclusive Catholic Church, are these ideals worth all the pain and persecution and isolation by the Roman Catholic Archdiocese and its forces? Would we be better off going back to Rome and becoming once again loyal subjects of the Lord Archbishop? As you experience difficult and challenging days in your marriage, I bet you ask yourself once in a while, would I be better off as a single person again? Would my life be easier if I wasn't married? Perhaps it's not really worth it. Perhaps loving and cherishing this person for the rest of my life comes up with too difficult price tag. You see, both the prophet Ezekiel and Jesus in today's first and gospel reading offer us a very stern but realistic warning. They say, before it gets better, it will get worse. That before you reach your promised land, before you arrive at these ideals that you so proudly proclaim, it will get worse. That life of a prophet is not easy, that it will not be smooth sailing from now on, that if you truly live up to the message of the gospel, if you truly want to create a nation which treats everyone with the same respect and dignity, if you truly want to live in a church that applies the same rules to everyone, no exceptions, it will get worse. That life will be challenging as you strive to be the truly good husband or wife to your spouse, as you try to live up to our founding ideals as Americans and as Catholic Christians. We have to acknowledge that this journey will not always be easy, that it will challenge us step after step, day after day. But yet, on this Independence Day, we are reminded that these ideals that our founding fathers believed in, that the ideals that we proclaimed 15 years ago here as newly excommunicated St. Stanislaus people, are worth the price, that they are worth the struggle. Yes, our country, our nation is not perfect. We have made and still are making many mistakes as we try to live up to these lofty ideals of ours. Yes, even we as people of the small St. Stanislaus parish have not lived up every day to our ideals of inclusive, kind, and generous love of God in our midst. But we have to use this God-given opportunity. We have to live up day after day, challenge after challenge, and to prove to God, to others, and to ourselves that we will not lose this chance, that this is our shot, and we are not giving it up. Famous Broadway musical Hamilton, which has been very popular for the last several years, reminds us that truly the gift of freedom is our shot, that such a wonderful chance to map your own course and destiny was not given to all other nations or to all other churches. This is our shot. This is our chance to live up to our ideals of what America can be, to struggle in our journey of creating a better, more inclusive Catholic Church, to use every day in our journey as husband or wife with the person next to you, and prove to God and to yourself that you can and will love and cherish this person for better and for worse all the days of your life. My friends, these ideals of our nation, of our church, of our marriages are not easy. And sometimes before it gets better, it will get worse. But the price is not too high. The price is right, because what we believe is true, because the values of justice, inclusion, and freedom are worth fighting for. We will not give up our shot.